Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Student to Life podcast, where learning and unlearning has no limits. I'm your host, Stretch, and today we have a very, very special guest in the building. But before I introduce my guest, everyone, please do me a favor. If you're watching this, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like this episode, hit the like button. And if you have a comment on the episode, leave a comment in the comment section. All right? So today, we have a very, very, very special guest, one of the most unique voices in reggae, in Jamaica music overall. And his voice travels. Like, if you hear him on any record, you know that is that singer. And today, we have Singing Melody here with us.
Greetings.
Mr. Melody, welcome, sir.
Respect, my brother.
Respect.
Every time.
So,
I like the topic of learning. So
yeah.
that's interesting, you know. I'm good.
Yeah, welcome. So for a lot of people, and I'm not going to say a lot of people, because if you don't know who Singing Melody is, you're probably under a rock somewhere. But for those who don't know, give them a brief description of who Singing Melody is.
Born Everton Hardware at a very humble beginning, coming from a place called 125 Spanish Town Road. That's what you would call that now. We're humble beginning community where we know that, you know, this is where everything started for us, such as life, mommy and daddy. And
You grew up with both parents?
yeah, grew up with both parents until I was 9 years old. I lost my dad.
Right.
And then my mom took on the journey along with me and my two brothers and one sister. 3 brothers, 1 sister. So starting from there, you know, I basically start to find myself as a youth. I grew up, you know, the regular procedure. You know, we started out with mom and dad and things were smooth and then things get a little rocky. But during this whole process, we had a community that was helping us to grow as well, you know. So, yeah, mourning the loss of your father at 9 years old and not knowing where to go from there, and then realize that, you know, we have a community that support us, you know.
You mind talking about what happened to Pops?
Yeah,
Tell us what happened to Pops if you want to tell us what happened to Pops.
Well, it's just a typical Jamaican domestic violence thing. You know, I think he and his other girlfriend, I guess, mistress, was having some altercation and she stabbed him with a knife.
Wow, okay.
And that's how he has lost his life. You know, when I heard, it was very sad for me because I look up to my dad as the man of the house who I'm going to learn a lot of
like
things.
a model citizen. Basically.
Yeah, so at 9 years old, when you lose your dad, now you don't even know what to do from there. You know, you figure learning stop right here. So you asked me the question, who am I? So I start from there because that's how far back I can remember.
Right.
And, you know, everything was just good going forward. You know, life fills with challenges, but as we go on the journey, we'll talk about it. Yeah.
So, in a situation like that, though, if you really think about it, you're experiencing trauma from 2 or 3 different angles. Where it's like you're expecting dad to be this example, and he's stepping out and then losing his life and leaving you. So there's a lot of emotions that's behind that.
Yes, there was a lot of emotions behind that. Even times when you see people with their dad, you know what I mean? Even that's why when I come to Florida, I stay at my friend's house where his dad is, because his dad is like my dad.
Right.
It's like, you know, and we sit and we talk, like, you know, so that is really, and mom is like a very important part of each of us life.
Right.
You know, it's the beginning and it's also the end.
Right.
You know, because when they pass on, they pass you the baton.
Sure.
So it continues to the next level.
How different do you think life would have been if he was still around?
I mean, at the earlier stage, I would have learned a lot more.
Right.
You know, I'm missing out on that male figure around to basically tell you, no, son, you know, sit here, let we have a talk, a discussion. You know, there's things that you have to know, you know, about women, about things like that.
Yeah.
You know, because even me growing up, not knowing, I tend to cling to more women because I never actually learned about women.
Right.
You understand? I've learned about just the female side of life,
Right.
because my mom raised us, and then my auntie get involved, then my grandma get involved.
So there's no male
there
figure.
was no male figure actually.
Right.
My mom didn't actually got into another relationship. She did once.
Right.
And I was happy at that point. I was like, yeah, we're going to have this guy now
Yeah.
around, but we don't know him. We have to get to know him. I know kids, we're kind of troublemaking, so we
Right.
kind of do some things to him to kind of see if he
Test
really
him
ever
out.
test him out, drive him car, push it and drive it way. And, kid stuff.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, my community was the biggest support.
Yeah.
And, we have male out there that would have said, wait, no hardware boy that. Where my daughter road? Call him, hardware boy, come here.
Yeah.
Tell me something. Your mother know you're outside here. And this is the kind of thing that actually kept us grounded. And then our community was just more love than anything else. Yeah, you will get spanking if you're on there from anybody.
And we don't have that no more.
Yeah, we don't have that no more. So people will shoot you now. Like, if you decide you want to spank somebody's
Young
child,
youth, yeah.
for good reason.
So
That's where it started for me.
for a lot of us, right? We don't know our talent until we actually try it out, because I've never tried singing, but me just know in myself, you can't sing, so leave that alone.
Yeah.
That's what I said. But then there's people who later in life they realize that they never actually tried, but they actually can. How did you find your voice?
Wow, that's the first time I've heard a question like that. But I just have to say like this. My community itself, first of all, everything started from my mom, because my mom is the one that you can hear from a mile singing. She has this high-pitched voice
Right.
that whenever someone's died, that's who they send for, my mom.
To sing, yeah.
So I used to end up at all of these dead yards. We call them dead yards
Yeah.
in Jamaica, just listening to really some great hymns raising by people just start singing. And then you have a whole bunch of people joining. And it's heartbreaking. It's very depressing. But then it's very uplifting because the melody of the songs and everything. And that's where I think I started to realize that, I do have a bit of talent and I can sing. And what you'll call it back then is nice, because you really don't know how to put melodies together, but you have something deep within that's burning and you have to just sing it. So what we used to do as kids is that we used to go to different places to exercise these talents, such as your classroom when it's empty.
Right.
And then you will get spanking for that. Sometimes we call school, we call it school. We absent
Skip
from
school,
skip school, just to go exercise the talent that you truly believe you have. Back then, music wasn't really a big part of school.
Okay, yeah. You're right.
Education was the key. So if music wasn't, you have music, but you only playing devotion. There was no music school that you can say, I'm going to a music class. No. That's extra stuff.
Right.
I'm privileged. And back then, music wasn't really that rated. It was more
Look down.
a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like my mom loved music, but she will tell me, listen, I'm sending you to school. I want you to become a lawyer, a doctor, and you do have a father now, so it's just me alone. So you have to go keep your head up and things like that. And I would say, yeah, mom, but deep down inside of me is music.
Right.
But I can't tell her that, because she says, what this people business that. So when I decided to start practicing very often is really by the sound systems that in my era, a lot of sound system. Where I was living at the time, you have Volcano High Power, which is John Jolaz. Them are the first man me see with certain things and that I never believed existed.
Right.
Such as a Benz, like them man are the first man me see drive a white Benz.
Yeah.
Prettiest car. Me say, me look on the car, I tell me, can't look no more. Me I say, it's really a Benz that? And certain things that makes me wanna really do music, because back then music was really, even though I have the passion for it, it was more of what comes with it too.
Yeah.
You see a lot of this happening, a lot of that happening, and you're like, oh, this is productive, this is good, So at about the age of about 12, I would say I started messing around, going to school and trying out music. And then it transitioned into dancehall because, you start to go dancehall. But then you have, I've said Volcano High Power, then you have Romantic High Power, which is Little John song.
Look at John, okay.
Because Little John bus back then, because we used to go to school,
Yeah.
And then Little John bus and come out of school.
Can bus in school?
Yeah, in bus, yeah, in the community.
Yeah.
Because, the community was all music. And when we say community, we're talking about from Mackay Lane off Spanish Town Road, all the way back to Firehouse to Waterhouse, to 6 Mile, Seaview Garden.
The whole artist that you call another whole business.
Yeah, it's like one stretch of road, but it's like every neighborhood has something going on. But Waterhouse was the biggest sound in neighborhood that when they say music, you're talking about the King Jammys, King Tubbies, and all these great guys. And that's where the center of attraction is when it comes to the music industry starting. And from there I used to just walk from neighborhoods to neighborhoods and just going to different parties, dance, and don't ask me, it's so long.
So I always ask a lot of my artist friends this, even off camera a lot of times, is what's music like the first choice? Like when you're in high school, it was like music is what I want to do.
Yeah, from day one for me, like music was always, like I tell you, it's probably in the DNA. From my mom, because I remember when I first had my first record and I went back home. I give you the story. I went back home and I said, Mom, I have a record. She said, go put your backside over there and sit down there and tell me about record. Which part of you have record? I said, Mom, I have a record. But back then, it's a white label. Your name is not on it.
Yeah, the empty label.
Yeah. So I showed her the record. It was funny.
Yeah.
She said, that's not you.
Because your name not on it.
No. And you can't see the voices like Pro Tools now. But those are the moments that actually let me pursue music even harder, because I wanted to not just prove to my mom, but there's a certain kind of gut feeling within myself that I can do this and I can make it without even training.
Right.
So my university in music is really the street that actually confirms what I was doing, that it was good. And that's why dancehall was such a perfect training ground.
That's kind of hard for people like me to really look at it. Like a person who can sing that well without formal training is extraordinary. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think, like I said, if you don't know, you can find out, because the range that your voice has is not normal. You understand?
Well, I don't know that, but most people say that. Like even Trilla, you have called me whale. I mean, I say, why you do that? That's very I'm not a whale.
I'm not that what your size.
Yeah, so he's like, no, you breathe from up here. So.
It's like the way you can hit the notes is like crazy.
But I think it's really a divine intervention. God makes all of us with some amazing talent, and some of us don't really know, and some of us got it. Most people ask me, most people said I'm singing melodies, one of the most underrated singer out of Jamaica.
I wouldn't say that.
No, I'm telling you what some people say. And they have the reason why they say it, because this amazing talent, but people can't see it.
Right.
And kind of a thing like that. But how I see myself is from within and the out.
Right.
So I don't see what people see. So I just know that I can do what I do, and it's natural to me to do it.
Right. So now you're finding your voice, you're recording and everything, right? And we realize that a lot of singers in your era, right, do a lot of sing-over songs. Because a lot of the songs I actually recently started to figure out that even some of the John Holt songs, some of those songs are actually sing-over, like covers. And I didn't know that until like recently.
Well, Jamaican music and R&B has had a marriage for decades, for centuries. When I first got into music, it was country and western. We were hearing on the radio back then. Country and western have a big influence too on Jamaica.
Yeah, it does.
And then R&B would be the lovers' music, them and things like that.
Music.
So what we call souls.
Yeah.
No, before, no R&B.
Yeah.
So there was a marriage, and that marriage, even up till today, influences hip hop, R&B, everything. Whole heap of thing come out of just the simple reggae city, Jamaica. But that transition comes because of a different complex or different stage of music that coming in, different genre of music that comes into Jamaica, I should say, that actually fuse with us. And we, out of that comes, you know, what we call reggae, you know, because it's really just different blends of music and trial and failures that actually ended up here,
right,
which become the heartbeat of the people. That's the best way I can able to look at it,
right,
you know, knowing that I'm coming from that simple time. Where all of these great men that you know as icon, I used to hang around them as youth. So therefore I have some form of idea, and the things that I will talk to you about is things that I experience,
right,
you know, and not just hearing from a source.
So let me ask you this, right? On the cover conversation with people like you, Sanchez, Ghost, or anyone that people like those who do covers, do you think in any way, because I know your original songs are a lot of your original songs, but do you think, because the covers for even Lust, the covers for you, the covers for like people like Ghost, they're some of your biggest songs, right?
Yeah,
So
I would say that because they were already big already. The songs were already big.
But you just but that puts you now in the spotlight, right?
Yeah, and this is how it is. If you look in every genre, you can find the same thing happening.
Yeah, it does happen, yeah.
Michael Jackson sing over song, Elvis Presley sing over song, and a lot.
So let me ask you, since you said that, let me ask you this. Do you think that affects you or any one of these artists? Do you think that affects your legacy in any way?
No, why? Because that is what helps my legacy, if you should say. Because what happened when people say singing melody, and you go look up singing melody, you're going to find albums with creative work. But you're going to also find the songs that actually made singing melody who it is.
Right.
Because for me to tell you who am I, then I have to prove to you what I can do.
True.
I can take this and turn it into wine. I can do this.
Right.
But the main important thing is how you have grown. All of us started out singing cover songs, but then, because if I tell you something, you wouldn't believe it. None of those cover songs that I've ever sing was my idea.
Yeah.
No. You see how it used to work in Jamaica, when you have a voice that people love, even coming from Coxsone days and so on, that's how they would get the record and bring in and pick the singer who they want to sing the song.
Oh, so the producer would be the leader on
is the one. Yeah, because even Back for Good, Want You Back, is my producer Bolby actually brought the song to me. And it was one of the most boring songs I've heard in my whole life, because the original version is fantastic. It's just slow. And I just think that at the time there was the heat of Beenie Man and Bunty War when they brought that song to me. And I was like, yo, what's the mad? We're not going that man that too slow. You know, see what go on Beenie and Bunty and Eat It Hard. No, we can't drop them the song there. And man, I said, trust me, Bolby.
Yeah,
just me singing. If you learn that song, it will change your life. I said to him, say, really?
Yeah.
So I took the song home, playing it for my daughter. Well, I was just playing it in the house, and my daughter, she couldn't more than 8 years old at the time, maybe 9. And she started to sing the song. And I was like, wow. I said, stop. I said, where do you learn that song from? She said, I heard you playing it, Daddy. I was like, really?
That's the confirmation you needed.
So I was like, yo. So I took the song. I said, I called Bobby and I said, Bobby, look, you know, get the guys set up, man. I'm coming to do this track. And he said, what happened? And I said, well, I heard my daughter singing the song. She's 8 years old. So this is how I've learned over the years that we have such great influence as artists, and we have to be careful, very careful how we use it, because it can change people's life.
Hey, this Mother's Day, May 11th, make sure you come out to the Art of Music Festival going down in Sunset Cove. you don't want to miss Maxi Priest live on stage, my girl Allison Himes, legendary Third World. And of course, your boy Papa Key's going to be in the building. Make sure you get your tickets at Caribtix right now. You don't want to miss the Art of Music Festival. Mother's Day Sunday, May 11th at Sunset Cove Amphitheater. We going to Boca, baby. Let's get it.
True. So let's get a little bit more personal now. Watching interviews, doing research on you, I saw that you had a very tragic accident. It's a bike accident, right?
Motorcycle, yeah.
Yeah. So like, tell us a little bit about that part of your life, basically.
Well, it was on the rise. It was when I was on the rise, and them time there was serious rival. People are comparing with Sanchez, and Sanchez are compare. You know, they're doing. We don't see no problem with that, both me and Sanchez. But people just have it to say, well, them two money no one. I was just recording for the fun because I like the adrenaline that's coming from it. But then, you know, certain things just start to open up to your eyes, like transportation. You need more, you need better transportation. You know, as artists, you want to try to put yourself in the best light. But I couldn't ride that much, you know, but I had some experience on a Honda 50 before. So I decided to get a 600 bike, a bigger bike.
Big one, yeah.
And so my producer from the US actually shipped it in, and I got it the Friday, and I was very, very, because I said, you know, weekend party, and yeah, we ain't the thing now. So I was heading to tax office to get it registered and insured, and I didn't get to make it there. I was just riding and saw a car. I was behind the car, and then I decided, it seems like he was gonna turn right. So I come in on the left, and he just turned left, cut me off.
Oh shoot.
So I ended up in a wall. I didn't know anything from there. I was in the hospital for many months, and you know, it was, if I tell you that I don't even know I'm here today, that God actually knew what he wants me to do. So therefore, I guess he did all the work at that time to actually get me out of that. You know, the paper said it. Everybody said he's not going to make it.
What were these injuries? How bad are these injuries?
Brain, 2 legs, a lot of stuff mashed up, man. This leg was in thing. They actually almost amputated this one. And then I was on weights at the time for my 2 legs, and then I had a rock in my head because the side of my head hit a curb wall.
Yeah,
and that's how I was blocked out for months.
Wow.
But like I said, good God actually get some good people around me, good doctors, and they were able to, after a few weeks, to get me up, you know, out of that. And then, you know, that's when I started seeing everything happening around me. And I was like, wow, I mean, this is great. Life. But the kind of person I am, I'm always believing in the Creator. And I know that there is a way that he works that man don't understand. So in about 3 weeks or so, 4 weeks tops, I was able to sit up. I couldn't talk because they had a lot of wires inside. And then this jawbone was dislocated.
Damn.
I didn't know that because I didn't feel it. You know what I mean? But I know I couldn't talk and the doctor shows me everything. So, you know, of course, they took very good care of me. The University of in Mona, I was there for about almost a year. And you know, I
mentally, how did that impact you mentally? Because, you know, we always talk about the physical aspect of it, but mentally, like a near-death experience, how does that affect you?
Well, you see everything. You see everything. You see the day you were born. I'm telling you from my perspective, right? When people ask me this question, I'm very happy to share it because a lot of people don't know what that is.
Right.
It's like a tape, and they just back it up and show you everything and all your mistakes that you have made. In a row, everything you could see like clear picture, you know? Oh, and then it shows you where you're gonna come out of it.
Right.
And it is a simple transition. Dark light into bright light. Bright light signify that you're going up. And the dark light means that you're going down. You're going out. So the dark actually means out, and the light means up. You're transcending up.
Right.
And then I saw the dark spot, dark light, dark room coming and everything. And then I just gone. I don't know anything else.
Wow. So then after that, you had another tragedy happen. You got shot. That was later, right? After.
That's later on. I mean, you know, I try to tell people ask me, oh, I deal with all of those trauma. I say, well, life brings trauma. What more difficult than life? You know, and what more simple than life? We are gonna go through things. Some of us survive, some don't. You know what I mean? But I just give thanks that there's a creator that believes that I believe in. You know, that can able to give me that strength to push on and carry on. Because if it wasn't for him and people, don't forget, we're all connected to each other. So the support when we get from people over the years and the fans, whenever I have Instagram and them something about then.
So I think
it's the street.
The way that for something like that, there's two ways to come out of that. You can come out of that with anger, you can come out of that with resentment, come out of that with retaliation mindset, and you can come out of that the way you came out, which is just being grateful.
And grateful, and a lot of knowledge you get from that too, because while I was blaming the person to hit me off the bike, I didn't know I was wrong also. Because I undertake the person, I should have waited behind him to see what he's going to do. Stop on the motorcycle, actually. But, you know, bike man, really, you just want to zoop and go around him and gone. But then I couldn't ride good enough to do that.
I'm talking about even with you getting shot incident too. You know, it's like...
Yeah, it's a young kid that shot me, and I don't think he even know me.
Right.
You know, I mean, it could have been even one of his own family going up in a taxi and something, and he just fired in the car carelessly. But what happened later on in my life, as I moved to Elsha, Portmore, and you know, I'm having this big show called Symphony Under the Stars. It's a show that backed by orchestra. One of the first to happen in Jamaica.
I think it needs to happen again though.
Yeah. And so my wife and I kept that show together, and it was amazing. So we're doing the commercial. So we went to Red Ground to do the commercial in Spanish Town, and I was coming back late, probably about 1:30 in the morning. I had a convertible BMW, a red one, drop top, can't forget it. And just as I was approaching the roundabout, I saw a kid on the sidewalk. But that spot, that immediate spot, is something that I always do. I always stop there and pick up people to drop them up because they're going further up the mountain. And I was like, when I saw the guy, I thought he wanted a ride. So I was kind of slowing down to ask him.
Like,
but
where you go,
as I was approaching him, he's on the right side of the roundabout when he should be on the left. So I should have thought that something is wrong with this, but then he was between two trees, so I couldn't see his right hand. So when the car slowly approaching him, he just turned around, and I saw the gun, and he just bam in the car. So this arm was on the door jamb, and this one was on the steering. You know, I'm lefty, so I drive it with my right hand. When I feel the thing hit me, I look. You know, it's almost like you get hit, like you have your hand on a ledge like this, and someone use a 2x4 and hit it. That's how painful it was.
Right.
I saw him, he took off. I saw him in the rearview mirror. But I wasn't even paying attention that my arm could move because it was just dead immediately. So I lifted up, put it on my leg, and when I look, I saw the blood rushing, and I was like trying to focus on if there's more than one guy. No, I had my thing here, but then there's no touching it.
Exactly. You focus on like if something else. Yeah.
When you get hit by a bullet, there's no time to think. It's like, try to tell people, do not get shot, man. It's
traumatic.
It's very traumatic, and it puts you in a frenzy that you can't, even if you can help yourself, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking of how I get out of this immediate thing right now. You know, and I stopped the car. My wife was in there, and she's like, don't stop, drive.
Oh, so you wasn't in there by yourself?
No.
Oh.
It was both of us in there. She wanted to put her head in my lap. This is how she got saved. And I said to her, no, just recline the seat and lay down. Because if I was to step on the brake suddenly, then your head would have been, and she was arguing with me. What if I want to put my head in your lap? I was like, no, you don't, no, just listen to what I'm saying.
Because I know you can't even, if you need to get
So if her head was in my lap, she would have died right there. Because the bullet came through her window. And because she wasn't sitting up, that's how I got it. So it come down like this and hit my arm on the door.
Oh, so that flew right through her.
Right past my chest.
Yeah.
Bam, in my arm. In my arm. There was 2 shots, but one got in the back of the car. I learned that later on. But for the most part, God is good. So when I saw the guy, so I knew he was a young guy. You know, I was like, you know, this kid don't even know what he did just now.
Right.
He took off to the bush, and a few weeks after that, the police called me to identify someone, and I said, I don't want to identify anyone. Why? They said, well, we think we got the guy who shot you.
Right. I
was like, okay. Yeah, so he's in jail, right? Like, no. But, you know, I'm a type of person, I don't render evil for evil.
That's the next thing I was going to get to. So you didn't go to college, right? You didn't go to college level education.
No.
So how did you get to this level? Because reason with you sound like a college graduate, somebody who has a degree, somebody who has a certain level of knowledge. And anybody who talk to you can attest to that, because you have certain knowledge about certain things. And the way you go about life also is also, somebody has to have a certain level of knowledge to,
okay.
You know,
all right. So let's start. We'll talk a little about education. Education is definitely a program, right? That basically puts you in a mindset to think about the things you've learned and how to exercise them. Your mother and your father educate you. Your peers around you educate you. Every day you learn stuff from people. School is really great for a beginner, how to learn to read the English language or other language or whatever language you may choose. Right. I think everything else comes from studies, analyzing things, finding out stuff for yourself as well. As I talk to many people who has doctorate degree, all sort of different things they tell me they have. But then, you see, that doesn't mean a lot to me. What means a lot to me is the humanitarian side of people. Right. And that is the biggest way you can educate yourself, when you're a humanitarian. It means that you appreciate everything that comes with life and what you saw created right in front of your eyes.
Right.
So therefore, you should learn that everyone has an opinion, and you have to learn to appreciate their opinion. That puts you in a different category when it comes to education now, because you're also learning from them. Not because I didn't go to college. You can't teach me anything. You can teach me a lot of things. Right. I'm going to think about what you said, and I'm going to look at it and then do my research to find out.
The research part of it is the part now where a lot of us fail to do, go past.
Yes. And I think all of us can, and like I said, this whole world was created on a program. You know, a lot of us, and I have no problem with education, because university degree and all of that don't make you be smart. It just make you communicate with a different level of people.
Right. So I'm reading a book called Interviewing the Devil. It's a really good book.
Yeah.
A really, really good book.
I'm going to think about it. I'm gonna
trust me, I do the audiobook.
Yeah.
If you do the audiobook, he does the 2 voices, because he's actually like interviewing the devil.
Yeah.
And he talks about, the devil talks about hell not being a place. Hell is a mindset.
Yes.
Right? So he talks about, with the schooling system, that's one of his tools to take over people's minds, because the young mind is the most impressionable mind and the easiest mind to transform. Right. So he talks about the schooling system playing into that, because school is supposed to not give you the information. School is supposed to show you how to go find the information that you think for yourself.
Yes.
What a lot of us don't do, especially in Jamaica, we don't teach the kids how to think for themselves. Because if you realize if a child goes to class and say, "Oh, I learned this on my own," it's disregarded. You have to stay within the syllabus. And a lot of times, like he talks, the devil talks about that within the interview where he's saying, "This is how I keep people in a state of hell because you."
It's a program.
Right, basically. So he's saying that the people who actually exercise their mental capacity and read and think for themselves, he has no control over them. That's his opposition, which is God.
And that's why you heard me said early on is that you have to know who you are. First of all, a lot of us are walking around and still don't know who we are because we're on a program still. It's called the Matrix.
Yeah.
So the Matrix is that you were born, your mom and your dad taught you this, that, teach you all the principles that you need to know. Then you transition from that to school, different programs start right there. You haven't tapped into yourself yet, right? Then you get out of school and you go to a different school, a different programming again, and you learn all of that. And then after that, now you get a job. And then you get a job and you start to be programmed again. So you start to work for the same people who program you, and then they have you like a ping pong, and you go in here and there, and then one day you sit to yourself and said, I can't go anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is, one of the worst regrets in that type of life is realizing that you've wasted so many years
doing nothing.
Remember, Anna, when you get to the point of finding the things that you love to do, that's when you really start to live.
Oh my gosh, you said it right. You said it right. When you tap into yourself, and you realize what God has blessed you with,
the talents and everything that He's blessed you,
everything that you know you're good at, and you were like, "Yo, my son said to me, Dad, I don't want to do music school no more." And I said, "Sit with me a bit. Tell me why." He said, "I only did it because you guys want me to.
Right.
And I'm your son." And, I was like, "No, I just gave you something that later on, if you feel you want to use it,
it's there.
It's there. But what you want to do."
Yeah.
And that's when he started talking to me. I said, "Look, son, whatever you want to do, I'm very happy with that.
Right.
Go get what you want to do." And I leave him to make decisions on his own and find his own path and his own way. And when he comes back to me, I said, "Yeah, son, Dad, I have a problem. I don't think I understand it fully." I said, "Look, son, you can do this. Go back, sit with it, look at it, and figure out where you want to go." Right? I try to give the best possible guidance because there's no manual. And I've been through that process.
Yeah.
So I know what that process is.
My advice to a lot of people would be, when it comes to figuring out what you love to do, it's a process. And it's never too late in life to actually figure it out. Because a lot of people feel like, I'm too old for indulging. Say if you want to do music or you want to go be a pilot or you want to, whatever it is. Like for me, I always tell people, anything that you love to do, you can make money from doing that and make a living from doing that.
Once you get to love something, it's a passion. And that passion you exercise with every being inside of you because it's something that you truly believe in. For me, growing up, I wanted to be a lot of things. Well, first of all, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer. And music does take all away that.
But the thing is, I wanted to be all of those things too, with the fancy names and the mechanical engineers and the scientists and the pilot.
But not only that, is that I love so much things that I want to do. I was a type of kid who explore a lot in my mind. So I used to be quiet. My son is like that now. Everybody can tell you, G can tell you, my son, if he comes right here and sit now, you would never hear 2 words out of him.
Right. So speaking of sons, we'll get into the family conversation a little bit. So you're still married now?
Yeah. Well, I'm married twice.
Twice.
My first marriage lasted 12 to 13 years.
Okay.
And I'm recently married now. I think it's going about 14 years.
Okay, so with the first marriage, how did that go, and what caused that to end?
Communication as usual. I mean, we can be open with that.
Okay, do you think it's on both ends or just on one?
Both ends, but then I accept my doings as well. I mean, men on a whole, You know, we get into little small trouble sometimes with ladies and so on and so on. And sometimes it's devastating to the other female and to the other person. I'm sorry to say just female, but to the other person. And sometimes you have to look at it as something that you created. You know, so when you accept responsibility, then you don't have to be keeping apologizing because then you know that you are wrong. So if you accept that, then you want to apologize to the person you hurt. But then at the same time, two persons are thinking in the opposite way can also cause relationship to actually fall apart. And stuff.
So do you think being in the entertainment business and being on the road and all these things affected?
Yeah, definitely. But in my case, it wasn't that. It was more attention. You know, and when you're married, you know, and this is where a lot of men and women actually got themselves into situation. When you get married, it doesn't mean that I'm married to you only because of this or that. We're married and committed to each other, so therefore there shouldn't be no complaint in terms of I can't deal with you right now. I I have my daughter, I have the kid to deal with and whatever. No, I am your responsibility, and you are my responsibility. So if I have a need, you have to try fulfill a need, because if you don't, then that need is gonna be fulfilled somewhere else.
Right.
And I think in my situation it was like that. You know, it was a case where I wasn't getting enough attention, so I was trying to
remedy that situation.
when you go on the road. And go on the road, you get involved with other people that you think is nicer. But it's nicer to your situation because they don't know you.
So you think that getting in those situations a lot of times, because what I see now is a lot of people rush to marriage and not do a proper vetting process where you do dating properly and you get to know this person ins and outs. You know, because a lot of times I believe, my opinion is, you have to give it time. A lot of people think, oh, I'm reached this age now, so it's time for kids or it's time for marriage and all these things.
It's funny, right?
I don't like that narrative, because that's why it gets to the divorce aspect now, because you feel like, no, I'm married, so now I can be.
In my case, my first marriage was one that I have to get done because it was family. It was a case where, you know, my wife got pregnant, my girlfriend got pregnant, and she comes from a family where that can't be.
Yeah.
And I want my child. So therefore I suggested it and said maybe this would change everything.
You have to remedy the situation.
And she's like, yeah, and I love you too, so we can do it. And we took off and get married. And went back to home and take off ring and put one side. And everything normal.
Yeah.
And then mom find out, say,
marriage
gone. And then plus baby upon the way.
Wow. So now now that you're a father, you're married now, you're a father, right?
Yeah.
How does being on the road affect your parenting skills?
A lot. But one other thing I used to do, I used to talk to my wife, I used to talk to my daughter. You know, when she has the knowledge that, you know, we could communicate that way. And even before she even started talking, I used to talk to her. I said, look, you know, daddy goes on the road a lot. And this is what I do. And I sing for her as well. So she hear my voice, she knows. So my daughter today end up being a singer because of my influence. You know, she believes in what her dad does. You know, my kids doesn't grow thinking that I neglect them, you know. But I know within myself that more time with them would have been more valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm a family guy. I love my family. So therefore, whatever I created, I'm going to take the best care of it, you know?
I think the hardest thing for me was, once I got more popular in the DJ space, was understanding that our holidays are our busiest times.
Our busiest times.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then Christmas comes and family get together, you're not there. And Easter, all these holidays, and this is your time when you're on the road.
So this is why I know a queen is so important. Because a queen helps to grow and strengthen a king at all times. Because the support you need it has to come from her. The understanding that you need has to come from her. And she now has to hold the family down.
Yeah.
And this is where we give them so much credit because this is what they do. We couldn't have done that because they understood that we have to be on the road. Sometimes it gets a little frustrated to them because they're looking. So what actually ended my first marriage is that after the child get involved, which was what they call adultery, and I asked God him, say, well, you create this mess, so you have to get yourself out of it. So the right thing to do is to really apologize, but I can't change anything.
Right. What happened
But the most important thing is to make sure I honor my responsibility with my son, make sure that I take good care of him, and also make sure my daughter is well taken care of as well. And also attempts to make sure that the mother well-being is also fine, because it's a thing that you have to sort out. It challenges that you got yourself into this situation, so all of this becomes yours.
So what are things that you fixed from the first marriage, and you fixed all these things in the new marriage? Now you realize I'm not going to do this in this situation.
No, the thing is that if it happens all 15 times, if it has to happen for you to get what you need, sometimes what each other need is really what is missing from the puzzle. So you could have married 50 times. If things missing from the relationship, you're going to always be chaos. So what has to happen is that what I've learned from my past marriage is that the communication has to be there. So if I'm not getting something, I'm not going to wait for 6 months to tell you, because 6 months would have been too late. I already gone out there already and creating a whole lot of new mess.
Right.
But if I come to you in 2 days and say, boy, our week.
So hold on, let me ask you this stuff, because this is a question where I ask women and I get a different answer, because the topic of honesty, right?
No, nobody know why honesty. That is
what I was gonna ask you.
That is a lie.
You're a person who's been in a marriage, and you've been in family, and women would say, I want completely open and honest.
Yeah, to kick your butt. All right, so on the topic of honesty, I am a type of person who do things, as I tell you, from inside out, because I have to first process everything that I'm going to say to you and see if it's the right thing to do. The right thing to do as men is to always protect a woman's feeling. But at the same time, it is the bad thing to do if you're not speaking the truth.
Right.
Now, we can, and I can tell you this, because seriously, I have tell a lot of lies in my time. Just to get it. You know what I mean? As men, we tend to say things that is not so, because you want to impress, But as you grow older, you realize that you don't want to live like that. You know what I mean? You want to live honest to yourself. Because first, it's you it come from first, before it actually somebody else can accept it. So if you're asking me if I'm perfect, no. But I do things to protect my wife heart, to make sure that I have her back and she have my own. And also I do things for to make she has no problem.
Right.
The disrespect. All right, so when you reach a certain level in your life, Stretch, you have to understand that certain things don't come in that mix again. Because you have outgrown that.
Yeah,
so,
you already experienced it.
Then, girl, listen, you're there on the run and you have all the thing going on.
You're just at
to
level.
and from, and you realize afterwards you start getting tired. Money I spend up, time I go away, and you not see nothing come.
Right, and the effort to keep that a secret is even more effort.
You can't keep no secret, or you keep it.
They have so much to go on, you juggle so much, you might tell upon yourself in that process. Yeah?
So when I see young men now doing that, I laugh. As I say, yo, you tell them no, but come on, learn. You have to give everybody time.
So before we come out of the conversation, just one piece of advice for people out there that's looking to get married or is already married. Any piece of advice to improve their situation?
When you get married to a person, you want to get married for the right reason, and the right reason is really love. How much do I really appreciate this person to really give them a whole lot of time? You have to understand, time is what we're talking about. You can't get any amount of money in your life, but you can't get any amount of time. So the time is really what you have to look at, because when you get married to a person, you really tie up the well of your life. It's like a death sentence.
Yeah.
That's it, right? That's where it stops.
Yeah.
Because you also make a vow unto the Lord.
A commitment, yeah.
A commitment to the Lord, and plus you and her. I will, but people get tired of this thing.
Yeah.
So my thing is that marriage can be faithful, I think. And I'm just saying to everybody out there, if you're going to be married for the right reason. I'm not telling you that I cannot get divorced.
Right.
Listen, I don't own nobody in my life. Full stop. Not even my own kids, them my own.
Right.
Them not belongs to me. I got pitting them.
Right.
Me just help to the process. People do get tired. People do get tired sometimes.
Right.
But how you really keep the fire burning is what's important. It's
Right.
how much you really love the person and want to put more in. And you see a need for stay. Some people say I need to come out
Right.
at certain time because them not get what they want and them not talk because
I
everybody
always say that when you're in the wrong situation, the time you look around and it's 20 years and you don't know where the time gone. Then when you're in the right situation, now 20 years feel like a eternity,
Yeah, man.
because every day just seems like you're
New.
enjoying everything.
Let me
So-
tell you something. My wife is not an easy woman for dealing. My wife is much more stronger than I am, in terms of voice and everything. So in every man's life, there's a balance. I'm quiet most of the time.
Yeah.
My wife is more aggressive and, so on. In everything that she do, whether work, love, everything, is she do everything hard. She got it hard. So I get time where I can able to sit now and process how I want to approach this thing.
Yeah.
So it creates a balance in my life where, I see somebody that is there and there for the right reason. So despite she will say XYZ to me and I will say XYZ to her, but at the same time, there's no love lost.
Yeah.
And there's continuous support.
And you keep
concern.
it within the bounds of respect.
Yeah, definitely, because you can't survive in a relationship, not even if you're not married.
So we know you're not worried for time, so you're trying to get everything in.
Yeah,
So
man, that's good.
the health side of things.
Yeah.
I know you started a radio show where I was watching at one point. You were talking a lot of stuff about health. I know you lost some weight too.
Wally.
Yeah, you lost a lot of people see and understand it before. Like
Fatta singing melody compared to. Yeah, man.
what triggered that change? Why did you want to make that change?
Every one of us has this thing that wake us up at certain time. All right. So my first initial stage of health is that I was about 230 pounds. Packing. Thick and tight. Heavy. But not fat.
Yeah.
It was 230 pounds that I could even see. But when I took pictures, I could be able to see my face fat. I said, but that's not how I was when I was a child. How do I get here? So it starts from this. Is that health to me and what I've discovered and what triggered me to really go into it is years of eating bad food. But what is bad food? It's everything that we consume.
Yeah, processed foods.
Processed food, non-organic food, all sort of different things. And I started to look at it and feel it at the same time. Because you can know when something go wrong,
Yeah.
Your body start talking to you and start telling you, I get up out of the bed and you only can get up one way. One man I just get up and say, yo, I don't like the way I feel. I can't sleepy, tired every minute. All sort of things happening. I say, yo, this has to stop. So what actually triggered me is that I developed a thing called vertigo. I don't know if you have
vertigo,
heard about it.
yeah.
Vertigo or vertigo.
Yeah, vertigo, yeah.
Every year it used to attack me.
Yeah.
And it's bad. It means that I can't stand up, I can't sit down, I can't lay down. The whole place is spinning with you.
So when you start to feel like you have a
And that's for 2 weeks straight. So I decided I have to try to figure out what this is. I've gone to many doctors. No help.
Can't forget that.
So my career was always on and off because every year I'm sick.
Right.
I have this thing where we have 2-3 weeks we can't come outside.
But I never knew anybody that had it that bad though.
Yeah, I had it really bad. So what had happened is that I decided to seek medical attention. I started spending money on medicals for a good 4 years, maybe four years, and get nowhere. Every doctor I go, them say, well, you know, there's no cure. And they used to give me something for my earring and all that stuff, and just never worked. So anyway, long story short is that I started to seek other advice. So a friend of mine called me one day from TOK, not TOK, voicemail. When I remember voicemail called me, but through a man who always know me as a very jokey person, called me and I hear my voice up. So I must say, sing, I really you this? And I say, yeah man, I'm me man. I must say, you don't sound like you. And I say, yeah man, I'm me man. I must say, no man, you alright? And I say, no, so I'm not too good. And he must say, what happened? And I explain to him and him say, yo, so you don't know Dr. Kimo? And I say, no. And he say, keep it on guitarist, man. I help everybody right now. I say, what am I me explain to him? And he say, hold the line a bit. And him try to call. When I call Dr. Kimo now, Dr. Kimo never had an answer, like him never there at Jamaica or something, gone on a trip. So about 10 minutes after that, him say, all right, when I get him, I'll make him call you. Because something him actually call me to do, for him, but end up does.
Yeah.
Ask me how I do and things. So anyway, I'm going to show you we're connected. 10 minutes after that, him call back and say, Dr. Kimo just come off of the plane. Let me hook him up with you. So him bridge up a call and we on the line of talk and him start to ask me. But this voice you talk to me now, the man sound like God. But just hear one voice that come out of the man where me know say the man really help people.
Yeah.
Because me go to a few doctors. Every one of them I go through. I tell me about $1 million. Them not ask me, oh, me do and nothing about health. Nothing about my physical state at the time. Some say these are the wrong people. So I go to about 5, 6 of them. And when I reach Dr. Kimo now, the man says, singer, so what happened to you now? And I explain to him. And him say, oh, that guy, don't worry. Him say, where you at the morning? I said, boy, I'm the right here, so can't move. And him say, all right. Him say, I'm not in a vehicle, but I want to know me I go reach by your side. I said, don't worry, rent a car.
You pay for it.
Me pay for it. And stuff. Just come seriously Saturday, I need to see you. And he drove up at my house, and the first thing that actually let me know I was good, the man starts see some bush, some herbs in my yard that me never even have knowledge of. I'll show you how dumb we is. We are around the things them that to get us better, and we don't see them, we don't know. That's because lack of knowledge. So this is what happened is that we start talking and he started to tell me about all these things about my health. And he also told me what I was doing wrong. And I was like, this doesn't make no sense because me never have no knowledge of food and that me I eat the wrong food and we consuming the wrong food. Him say, how long you feel like this? I tell him like about 5 years I go through it. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, you're sick long time still. So I say, what you mean? I say, yeah, you're sick from your born, you're sick. I said, this don't make no sense. This man not talk to me. But really and truly what he was saying to me from the age of birth to when I know myself now, I am sick because I just didn't know that all these things I'm eating. So he asked permission to look into my pantry and I let him to the house. My wife said to me every time, don't listen to nothing what this man tell you. Hear me tell you, if you take anything and this man kill you, you're going to bury your own dead self. And I was just watching how the man move and everything. It's just his whole demeanor.
Yeah.
The man is like a god. To be honest with you, it's like man does a walk, living earth. Man barefooted. Everything.
Grounded.
Yeah, man. I mean, I watch whole heap of things and I'm going at the pantry and him say, oh my God. Him say, Mr. Melody, man, you're digging yourself to your grave, man. With your mouth, with your teeth.
Is your teeth a digger grave?
I say, what you mean? And I start to point out all the stuff them that I have in the pantry. And him go back to his car, bring a box, about 30 bottles inside here. And him say, look, I have some stuff can help you. I will sit down and tell you more about it. But you have to promise me, say, you will go on the journey with me. And I say, yeah, but you tell me for dash everything when me have inside. And he must say, yeah. You You have to throw them away if you want to save your life.
Yeah, wife, you probably like eat it, you know.
Yeah, because we stand up there, but me and her now get kind of dumb because we are wonder we are kind of madman this company that we are, because that's where the whole of your pantry. But when I started to understand more of what he was saying that the food that I was eating, the canned food, the processed food, all of these type of things, me never out of corned beef, me never out of sardine, me never out of them things that me have for months and years and I realize is rotten food me I eat. And things, and these are the things with the chemical in there and all of that, and the whole heap of rice and oil and everything that's basically causing blockages in your body and all these things with your nervous system and your lymph system. So therefore, we start talking now, and then everything start make sense. My wife start to listen more now because she's a university graduate, so you know them all come with us something every say them know more.
You're right.
And this is garbage, doctors. So we start going through the whole process. And after we gone through that, he start recommend some stuff. And my wife start do the research on them. When she saw how powerful the stuff was, she stopped immediately and started to look at the man differently. And then he started to recommend some teas in the first half. And then he prescribed the medicine that I need to fix myself with. Would I tell you, within the first 3 months of cleanse, I didn't eat anything cooked.
Everything was raw veg.
No. Most people, when you tell them you're a vegetarian or they said veg, but it's simple thing. So my first diet to lose all the weight was no carbs, no oil, no butter, no cheese, no milk,
No eggs.
no eggs. Everything that is animal processed food was removed from my diet immediately. I couldn't take it for weeks.
Yeah, it's a withdrawal thing. You have withdrawals.
But that transition started to let me lose weight now, and then he put me on a diet called CMOS diet. Because the minerals is really what needed at that point. To actually start to rebuild the body while you're cleansing the body.
Yes.
So we start the cleanse. So I went into it for 3 months. When you look at me going down that gutter, you say, boy, no man, something wrong. My friends come to visit me, they said, don't take no more of this stuff. And I said, man, you don't understand how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of feeling.
So it's just the process.
30 bottles within 3 months. I run through them like, I passed some stuff out that I couldn't believe that was inside of me all this time. So when you're talking to people about health, a lot of times it's kind of hard to go down this road because a lot of people are not disciplined enough to go on this journey that I went on.
Right.
So for that time till now, there was no sign of vertigo all this time.
So you're gone
This
for,
is
ever
over
since
15 years.
ever since that time. All of that gone.
Yeah. And so when you're gonna tell me that this don't work and it can't work, it's lie. Could I tell you that I only gained 1 pound from last year to this year?
I'm the same way.
No, from last year.
No,
from
for
2014.
For 8 years, I've been the same weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can, but depends on how you consume and what you consume.
Because I don't eat eggs, the cheese, none of that. I don't do none of that stuff.
No,
either.
because the important thing is that animal product.
I don't eat animal products at all.
No, animals were made for animals, just like how people were made for people. We do people things. Animals, milk was made for the
animals,
calf, for animal. You can't drink milk that coming from a creature and say that you're getting more from it. You cannot, because that is causing problem within your body.
Yeah.
First of all, the soldiers them are going dead off because you take on different antibodies.
Yeah.
And them a fight against. So that's why when you eat flesh and things like that, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Is that you take on animal antibodies when you eat all these meat. And then these parasites go in and attack your good parasite,
Right.
kill them off, and then you're left with no soldier to fight for you.
And your lymphatic system
get weak.
Get worse, yeah.
Everything start to go from there. The first thing that took to be disappear from you with health is your digestive system.
Yeah.
The first thing that gets
What do you call it? Metabolism, yeah.
So you start to feel like everything you eat start to get acidic and things like that. So this is a journey I've been on, and I'm still on it. Every other month, even though I'm eating great food, now
Still do a detox.
you still have to do a cleanse, because even good food can cause problems.
Yeah, because no, a lot of food we think are real or not.
Not.
Yeah.
So that is my little 2 cents
So
on health.
I know you have to go, but for the last question for the night, the name of the podcast is Student Life Podcast, and we always leave people with something. But this is a new thing that I'm starting with this episode. From this episode forward, this is what I'll be doing. I want you to give me 3 lessons that you've learned throughout life and how they have changed you to the person you are right now. 3 different lessons.
One is to listen. The second one is to smile. You know, because when you listen to things, it either makes it funny or make it serious. But whichever it goes on it and aside, you know, smile about it first before you start to think about it. That's my way of doing things. This is how I am and always been. The next thing is to learn from each other. You know, all of us are connected in some ways. So therefore, this connection is really what gonna help us to be educated.
Right.
So you asked me early on, you sound like a university student. No, I've learned everything from you.
Right.
I've learned everything from him. I've learned my mistake through him.
Right.
I've saw what drugs did with all these great artists, so
Right.
therefore I'm not going to take it. And that's my 2 cents on life itself. Be yourself, because it's even more than that.
Yeah.
Don't try to copy anybody else's idea of who they are, because you will also have you to deal with that.
Sure.
So just be yourself, man.
Well, Mr. Melody, sir, I appreciate you for coming through. Usually we leave people with just one last advice. It could be about anything, about life, about relationships, about food, about health, about anything. Just one last piece of advice. If you want me to go first while you think about it, I could go first.
No, that's all right. I just like to say, just love each other. God loves that. When we love each other and care for each other, that's where God wants us to be, and I think that's how we can able to be connected to Him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so mine would be just try not to be too distracted by everything happening in the outside world. Focus on what you have going on and how that's going to help you and your family improve. Because a lot of times we get so distracted with everything else that's going on that we lose focus and lose sight of what's really, really important, which is our health, which is our family, which is our friends, and everything else that we have going on in our little circle. So that's what I would say.
That is powerful. It's powerful to a point, though, because I can argue it. You know, what you said has great value because it's coming from a personal perspective.
Right.
You know, but anytime that we can break that personal ground and get selfless, meaning that you're not thinking about just you, you're thinking about the next person next to you, because even if you take care of your family right here, your family still going to want to depend on.
Yeah, but I'm just talking
outside source.
I'm just talking about distractions, though.
Of course.
Yeah, we're not talking about really caring for people outside of your circle. It's just distractions.
Oh, the distraction.
With social media, with trends.
Focus.
Exactly.
Focus, yeah. So
That's what I'm
family focus and values are very important to the family. And listen, we can argue them something because really and truly, Stretch, life is about sharing information, and the more you share is the more we learn. That's what we're doing right now, is pouring up each other, with information. Give thanks.
Yes, I appreciate you for coming through.
Every time.
Yeah,
Yes,
hopefully we can have this conversation again sometime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's very entertaining, it's relaxing, and it's therapeutic too.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, man.
it helps you to free yourself
Yeah.
up. You
So
know what I mean?
once again, thank you for tuning in to the Student to Life podcast, where learning and unlearning has no limits. And we'll see you again next time. All right? Peace.